Okay, coming to you tonight for Gamer Oral History, the third installment. We've got
Woo.
Jevon Jenkins, aka J-Man. Hey, how are you?
Hey, how's it going, man? How's it going?
Oh, I'm doing great. Um,
Hey,
I think I've officially mostly wrote out the con crud.
right?
That is to say, I saw you a couple weeks ago at
Oh yeah,
MAGFest.
MAGFest. Yes, that was amazing. Yep, it was great to see you too, man. It's been a while since we had made contact, but always good to see you. I get to see you at every MAGFest just
I
about.
do I
So
do go to just about yeah I do go to just about every Magfest. Hold on,
yeah.
I got double Jevon on the screen and zero Shirley's. Hold on.
Oh,
Uh
It's all right. We're gonna have double Javons.
hey, what's wrong with
the
that?
why teacher, why does Jevon get two interviews?
Twice the mistakes, right?
Oh my gosh.
Oh boy.
Yeah, we see each other. I go to Magfest every year. I think, I'm closer of the big cons,
Yeah.
I'm closer to Dragon Con. But Magfest
Oh, would
continues
love
to
to go to that
be
one.
Dragon Con. Dragon Con is so awesome and so different. But this is not an interview about Dragon Con. This is an interview about partially about Magfest, my favorite
Hmm.
con, uh,
Oh yeah.
which you're at every year, which we'll talk about.
Yep. Cool.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
chat already wants to know how many how like your history with Magfest, how many Magfests you've been to. We'll get to that.
Hmm.
But we've got let's give Jevon some room to speak and
Hmm.
talk a little bit. I've introed enough. I've introed
Hey.
enough. Let's get Jevon a little bit to speak. Jevon, tell people a little bit who you are and what you do.
Yeah, so my name is Jevon Jenkins. I'm general partner, co-founder, owner of Small Town Gaming. We hail from a little place on the peninsula called Delaware. Three counties, that's true. But we're the first to sign the Constitution. We
That's
we
right.
got that. Um,
The old line state.
yeah, 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 yeah. We're proud here. We're small but proud here here on the peninsula. Um, But yeah, I'm with Small Town Gaming. We're a local esports company based out of Southern Delaware, whose core mission has always been to bring an awareness to our local communities. We kind of got started years ago, back in early 2000s. Just a few guys who loved the game of Street Fighter. Were very competitive amongst ourselves. Anytime there was a Street Fighter tournament, we were there, getting it in, just being able to, to represent that scene, but very competitive amongst ourselves. So in 2005, we decided we wanted to test our metal on the national scene. Evo was the thing then,
Mm-hmm.
and we went in the basement and we practiced for Evo for like 8 months. 8 months, man, night and day. We were in there. It's like, man, we're gonna do this, man. We're gonna bring the Evo championship back to Delaware. That was the goal for Street Fighter 2 anniversary. Then at the time,
Yeah.
um, man, we practiced day and night. It was time to fly out to Vegas. Um, Packed up our suitcase full of fight pads and fight sticks, and literally a suitcase full of fight pads and fight sticks. And we went out there to Vegas to represent. And we got out there, and I think I remember waiting approximately. I think I waited about 4 hours to play,
Yeah.
and then my partner at the time he waited about 7 hours to play. And man, we came in there with high hopes, but the scene was so competitive, man. Much to our dismay, we were trounced pretty quickly. We
Oh
were we
boy.
were we were down for ourselves for a minute. We were like, oh man, all this practice for nothing. And then we realized, man, we're in Vegas.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There you
So
go.
we were in Vegas for 6 days. It was an amazing experience. Just the diversity of of culture there. You know,
Hmm.
you had people you didn't even hardly understand the language amongst one another, but but the love of the game, it was so common. You know, it just easily bridged all these cultures and walks of life together. The love of the game, and you know, that's kind of where this ideal, uh, the ideal, you know, behind you know, small town gaming come to be. We wanted to have a scene like that back here on the East Coast.
Hmm.
And so we came back, you know, charged up and, you know, we started going to work. We started spinning some wheels and, you know, to get this thing off the ground. We started out at our local Boys and Girls Club, um, teaching the kids Street Fighter and stuff like that for months at a time. And then we graduated into, you know, we started doing more local stuff at bars and libraries and you know we kind of just over the years just grew kind of fleshed this thing out. There are a lot of course there's a lot of storytelling between then and now, but yeah, so you know bringing us up to date here, you know, right now what we do is our main mission now is to, you know, we attract local players and help them develop their skills through hosting tournaments, special events. We do release parties for GameStops, um, and of course we host as many uh, big conventions as we can. MAGFest being one of them, but we also do Dover Comic Con. We do NeshiCon. We do Ocean City Con. We've been to so many different conventions, and man, we love the convention scene definitely. We also
Hmm.
do uh, weekly showdowns locally. We have a place we hail out of Greenwood. You know, we've been all over the place there too. We've been in Salisbury. Um, we've been at the Vault in Felton, Delaware. I think that's where we met Dom, the
Uh,
great one.
I'll get to. I remember it specifically where I met you, but it's even crazier than the vault.
Yeah. Yeah. We spent a lot. We definitely spent a lot of time there at the Vault. Good times there
Yeah.
uh,
Hmm.
at the Vault stuff. But yeah, that's you know that's who we are in a nutshell. Uh, you know.
Javon, let's go back like uh all the way.
Hmm.
Where does your love of video games
Hmm.
start? And then also like where does like your love of like start with video games, but also like where'd you start playing video games competitively?
Oh, okay. Great question. So, where did my love of video games start? I would say, um, my father, and this is going back. This is like early '80s.
Hmm.
I'm telling my age here, but he loved he had just bought a Tandy computer. I don't know. I think I was like 7 or 8. He bought a Tandy computer and he set me down in front of that thing, and you know we played sci-fi. We played a sci-fi scroller. I can't even remember the name now, but I was so engrossed with this thing. I played it night and day
Hmm.
for the longest time. Me and my little brothers. But then in that same year, the same Christmas, um, we got a ColecoVision. We got a
Mm.
ColecoVision. My dad brought a ColecoVision for all the kids there at Christmas, and man, that was the first time I met Mario and Donkey Kong and the Princess, and I was just like, I was head over heels in love with games. You know, I mean, it was just a thing. I was on a night and day. It was my new uh, favorite pastime. Um, I always knew I wanted to do something in the gaming field.
Hmm.
Um, since I was a young kid, you know, what I mean, I was always loved like the background and you know I love the story, the how the characters are fleshed out. And in particular, I wanted to go to school for like uh, level design and things like that. Did Me and my best friend Chuck, who was also a gamer, we had an ideal to go to school, do get our computer science degrees. Then at the time, I think after you had to do 4 years of computer science before you could go into trade school. Now you can jump right into it. It's a really
Hmm.
beautiful thing now. Um, Long story short, he got his computer degree. He did his 4 years. I did 2 years. Didn't finish, but we did go on to do some groundwork for a game we wanted to develop. It was, and it's still under construction. Even to this day, we always go back to it and talk about it whenever we meet up. So, but yeah, that's kind of how I got it started. Started in gaming. Um, I think a few years later, um, as we got older, he got into a game called Ultima Online,
Mm.
and we
Hmm.
started playing Ultima Online together. And we met a friend. He had a friend that he played with, and the three of us, we had many adventures in Ultima Online. But her husband happened to be an owner of a online online gaming site, Game Industry News, and
Hmm.
I got a chance to do a couple of reviews for him, and it just took off from there. And spent the next 20 plus years writing reviews for Gin. That got me the opportunity to go out to E3
Mm.
uh, back in 2000. Got to see the PlayStation 2, a year before it came out. Got to see Metal Gear Solid, Sons of Liberty. That was amazing. That whole experience, E3 is such a magical time, man. It just brings back memories. I'll never forget that experience. Just being at the center of the game industry there, man. Just seeing all the bells
Hmm.
and whistles, all the moving hands. It stays with you. It definitely fueled my gaming fire, if you will. And it just
Hmm.
continued from there. Of course, later, we get into tournaments and stuff, but I love the industry. I love the people. I love all the work that goes behind it. So
Yeah.
So you told the story earlier about flying out to Vegas to go to Evo with the
yeah.
friends, but before that, and you
Hmm.
said it was Street Fighter 2 anniversary, but before
Yeah.
that, were you playing fighting games and pretty seriously? Were you going to, or did you have like a scene where you lived, the people who were like who were grinding and trying to play competitive?
Yeah, absolutely. So we had a place called PK Videos. Like this place you could rent VHS movies and stuff, of course. But in the back of this movie rental place, there was an arcade. Uh, and man, all the kids came in there. That's where you got your rep at.
Mm.
We you brought your quarters. You get a couple dollars from your parents while they're renting renting movies and stuff. We'd go in the back there, and Street Fighter was there. Street Fighter, all kinds. My dad loved the game called Operation Wolf. Not sure if you guys are familiar with that one, but yeah, that's where my love for Street Fighter was born. There in the arcades, burned a lot of quarters, took a lot of quarters. Um, but yeah, it was awesome. Street Fighter was one of the first games that it's probably my first. It was the god. It was Street Fighter is actually the godfather of fighting games. A lot of the fighting games that we know of today, they're based off the Street Fighter mechanics. They all have Street Fighter mechanics in them.
Hmm.
Um, but yeah, that's where it all happened there, man. Later on, as I got older, again, I was talking to my friend Will. We After high school, we used to hit his house. We'd hit his house and we would practice Street Fighter for a couple hours after school on a Friday night. And then, man, at like 6 o'clock, we'd head out and shoot up to the Dover Mall. And we'd be in the arcade all night, man. You'd
Mm.
step into the arcade. I think they had Street Fighter Championship Edition. I think they just come up with Street Fighter Turbo, and you'd walk into this arcade. There's hundreds of players in there, and you'd see like people like two lines, 12 deep at the Street Fighter machines, and you
Mhm.
wait your turn in line, until it would, and when you get up close enough, you'd see, the guy who was hot on the sticks taking everybody's money. You get about three or four people in, and you wanted to make your presence known. You're a couple persons back, and you'd always take your quarters, kind of slide between the two while playing, put your quarters up on the screen, just let them know, hey. Anytime you put your coins up on the screen, it was a sign like, yo, I'm taking you. I'm taking you off. It was
Nice.
a phenomenal scene. I love that scene. So yeah,
Nice.
And who
good
did you play
times.
back in Street Fighter 2?
Who did I play? Who I have always played and will never stop playing. My man Guile.
Yeah,
I'm a huge Guile is my guy.
USA.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Mhm.
I like Guile. Yeah, you know, I'm gonna be real with you. Like my first love with Guile was like he was the first white guy that had a box. I mean, I had the box then. I
Yeah,
had like the little 4-inch box.
yeah.
And I was like, yo,
Mhm.
this guy is so cool, man. He runs the comb through there, it comes back, man. I was like, fuck it. I wish I had hair like that. But
Oh hell yeah!
yeah, he was so cool, man. Brawny guy, tank top, necklace, cool hair, you know what I mean?
Some of the best music, like one of the best themes in the history of video games.
Absolutely,
Yeah, that
absolutely.
Street Fighter 2 Guile theme is a class is a top 20 video game song ever.
Yeah, you
Mhm.
get no argument from me. No argument at all. But yeah, those are good times, man. I appreciate you giving me a chance to run down memory lane a little bit.
That's what it's for. That's what it's for. We're showcasing you.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
appreciate it.
So there's
Yeah,
there's memory lane, and then we know the story about you going out to Vegas and seeing, like you were saying, like people who didn't understand each other. I assume like people from Asia, people from Latin
yeah,
America, people from the United
yes.
States and Canada who
Yep, the
they all
UK,
they all knew
Mexico.
fighting games though. They could all speak fighting game.
Yeah, it was an amazing amazing experience. Like I said, there were a lot of language barriers in there. I remember, actually like seeing how the Japanese players who were the dominant force at the time, watching, how they went about, how they conduct themselves at the competitive scene. I remember getting to the hotel. We got to the hotel in the evening that night, and we were tired out, and we figured, we'd get some rest, get your energy up, be ready for the morning.
Mm-hmm.
Well, the Japanese players, most of them do not go to sleep. So what happened is while the American players were sleeping, resting, partying, enjoying the scene, what the Japanese players would do back then is they would leave their doors on a crack. And so, like, if you're walking through the hotel and you see a door on a crack, that was letting people know, hey, we're in here, we're scrimming. And so they were up scrimming, they were in and out of rooms, and so when the morning hit, they were red hot. They were red hot. We were waking up, we were groggy, we were just trying to get some breakfast, you know what I mean? Getting ourselves pumped up. So when it came time to hit the sticks, man, they were they were burning us. They were lighting us up. They were
Hmm.
they were lighting us up. It was a phenomenal experience. That competitiveness at that time was kind of unrivaled a little bit. America, over time we started to adjust, to that pace, and we did have some heroes arise from the ranks. Eventually, now, we're pretty competitive in that scene. But I just remember the
Mhm.
um, respect that everybody had for them, and the impact they had on the scene at the time. It was great. It was a great experience. I think what I really loved about that scene was, like I said, the love of the game. How that was the bond there. Even with all those different cultures, even all those the language barriers, it was so easy to connect. It didn't matter whether you understood the guy or not. If you knew how to plug your controller in, and and you have a favorite game in common, man, you know, you kind of could like signal like, hey, good game, or it was just you just kind of you kind of learn. You just kind of like it just all like beautifully blended together. It was the best time.
Mhm.
That's
Yep.
incredible. I love the doors like cracked open because it's like they turned a hotel
Yeah.
hallway into an arcade. They like
Yeah.
reverse engineered
Yeah.
an
Exactly.
arcade.
Yep.
Yeah.
Exactly.
That's very
Yeah.
fun.
Yeah, that was a strategy. It was kind of a unified strategy. Amazingly enough, like I said, I was telling you me and um my friend Dave Stewart, or at the time, he was really good at Street Fighter. I was very good, but he was really good. And the guy that beat him, that knocked him out, um, in pools, he had took a round off him. But that same guy went on to win the whole Street Fighter 2 anniversary, the
Who
competition
was
there. I think it
that?
was like it was 2005. I'd have to Google it actually. I can't remember the name off the top of my head, but yeah, he's 2005 Evo champion for Street Fighter 2 at the time.
I'm 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 googling that.
Yeah, yeah.
Uh, oh, no, that's Third Strike.
Now, this would have been Street Fighter 2 anniversary.
Oh, I don't see it.
Huh.
Anyway, but yeah,
Yeah,
man, that's
yeah, it was
that
pretty cool.
it's cool. It's cool because you got to like see
Yeah.
their like for like their first steps. You know?
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely. Justin Wong was there.
Nice. One of
He
those
was,
American heroes, like
uh,
you said.
yeah, just
Yeah.
real calm, cool dude, man. Sitting in the floor, Indian style, just taking people's games and respect. He was cool.
So
So yeah.
what are uh like some of the games that Small Town
Mhm.
Gaming has thrown tournaments for throughout the years?
In the beginning, we ran a huge diversity of games. We ran back then. Street Fighter, of course, was pretty prominent. We ran a lot of Madden and Call of Duty. A lot of times, when you're hosting tournaments, you have to, you kind of have to figure out, what games are strong. So around here in our area, Street Fighter and Madden and Call of Duty were pretty strong. But we also ran Halo. We ran NBA 2K tournaments. We've ran Rocket League. Anything that is competitive on the consoles, console wise, we've probably done that. Of course, Smash Ultimate is the big thing now, and of course we run a lot of Street Fighter and Tekken, Guilty Gear, um, Mortal Kombat, just every type of competitive. If there's a community for it, um, we'll run it. You know what I mean? So
Nice.
So that's
Yeah.
and that's like and you like stagger like what
yeah,
games are being played what week, correct?
yeah. Currently, we kind of have a rotation of games that we play. Smash Ultimate and Smash Melee. We actually have our first weekly show of the year coming up this coming Monday. But we'll start off with Smash Ultimate, Smash Melee. Of course, we'll run those 2 Mondays out of the month, and then we go online with our FGC community, and will rotate between Tekken 8 and Street Fighter 6. So yeah, we just got into the online thing
Mm-hmm.
recently,
Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
probably about mid-year last year. We've got a few under our belts. That's been pretty exciting. Just meeting new players from around the region and watching some of our local players compete online against those players. So that's kind of a fun and developing story within itself. Um, but as other games, as other fighters or genres get hot, I mean, we'll trend between those.
Yeah, between fighters and sports games, you said a lot of.
Hmm.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yep, sports
Mhm.
shooters. Yep.
Yep. So,
But right now, Street Fighter, Tekken 8 they're the hotness right now, along with Smash Ultimate, of course.
Wasn't that Nickelodeon fighting game hot for a while?
Oh,
Yeah, it was.
dang! Oh my God! Where's my
It was.
trophy?
Uh-oh.
Oh, you got it.
Well, no. Oh man. No, I think it's
Nickelodeon
downstairs.
All Stars, right?
It's
Yep.
downstairs. I took second place in a Nickelodeon All Stars tournament with you guys.
Oh yeah, yep.
Yeah,
Nickelodeon All Stars. You're right. You're right. I
that's my
remember
my
that.
Leonardo. My Leonardo won me my only hardware in my
Yep.
history of esports.
Yep. Nickelodeon All Stars.
It was a losers
Rivals of
bracket
Age.
run, and I was on stream for a while that day in a
Yeah,
cold
yeah.
library.
Yes, that's the one. That's the
Yeah,
one.
in a frigid
Wow.
library.
It was frigid, yeah.
Yeah, it was because I moved in November, and that was like the week before I moved. That's one of the last things I did in
Yeah,
Delmar.
that's right. That's right.
Oh,
Yeah,
wow.
Bridgeville Public Library, yeah.
yeah. Where
I
was
remember
that?
that. Bridgeville Public
Yeah,
Library.
Bridgeville. Yeah.
Yep. I remember that.
Oh my
Yeah,
gosh.
that was yeah, definitely we were sad to see you go, but we were happy for you. You were going on to new endeavors, so we were excited at the same time. It's sad that you know wouldn't be able to see you as often
Yeah.
as we usually do.
It was a part
So,
of like so many of my weeks.
oh yeah,
I was like reliably so many Mondays I would carpool up to Delaware. Yeah.
yeah. Loved your commentating too. There was always an excitement. There was always excitement. You and Striker,
Yep.
when you guys got on the comms, it was always great.
We had a really good we had a John Madden Pat Summerall thing.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it was
yeah, yeah.
fantastic. It was fantastic there for a while. I tell you what, it took a minute to fill that void. When you left, we had some other commentators step up. You remember, I'm sure you, Stylish Yoshi,
Of course.
between the three of you guys, man, you, Striker, Stylish Yoshi, any combination was exciting.
Yeah.
Yeah. So good times, man. Good
I
times.
guess I left that, and
Hmm.
I moved in like 2021, like just as like
Hmm.
tournaments are coming back, and then
Yep.
but I think about 2021 is when we started this show. So I was in many
Yeah.
ways I do think I've been like taking the excitability of esports color commentary
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
to a talk show. I think
Absolutely.
that's been my
Pretty
thing
much.
for the past 4 years.
Yeah. No matter what you do, you bring the energy,
Did you
man.
see this
Like
answer? Oh my god!
yeah, you can feel it. Yeah.
Ah.
Definitely.
So so as you've been saying, I commentated Smash tournaments with you guys
Hmm.
for like a little over a year or around a
Yep.
year, and
Yep.
this is kind of some online tournaments. It was the era online tournaments in the middle there. But
Hmm.
let's talk tournaments. So I
Okay.
know the answer to this, but
Oh.
for chat for
Hmm.
everybody else, like
Hmm.
logistically, when you put on a tournament and when you
Hmm.
stream a tournament, like
Hmm.
logistically, what all has to happen behind the scenes on your guys' end for this tournament to run?
Oh my gosh. First of all, there's a huge amount of stress in the preparation. As long as we've been doing it for years, but I always believe it or not, I always get a little nervous before every tournament because you always want it to go well.
Mhm.
Before, of course, with a lot of tournaments that we, in particular Smash, we're getting ready for Smash next week. We're building to start GG pages.
Mhm.
We're, getting the word out. Making sure, checking in. We always kind of, check in the Discord, kind of get a feel for what, the amount of people that are coming or the amount of people that we think are going to be there. We use Start GG kind of as a barometer to let us know what kind of people are there. Um,
What's start.gg if people in chat don't know?
yeah, so start.gg is where you can pre-register for our tournaments there. Actually, you can pre-register for a number of tournaments. You find your game, you find your local, and once you find your local, you can see what games they're running for the week, and you can sign up and pre-register, and give us an idea of who's going to be there. We do a lot of our players still sign up on the fly. They walk in and sign up at the door, but our pre-registers on Start GG kind of give us an idea of what to expect that night. Um, because we don't have our, we have a venue, but we don't because we don't have our a consistent or a building of our own. The preparation involved usually we start off. I'm loading a ton of game systems and equipment, streaming equipment, into the car. Monday evening, right after a full day's worth of work. Pile it in to the gills. Front seat, back seat full, trunk full. Usually get to the venue about 2 hours in advance, and start lugging stuff in, setting up. I have some guys who usually join me around 6 or 6:30, help me finish, getting the venue prepared. Once we're there, we break the computers open. Rambler, he's a big part of our team. He'll look at pre-registration. He'll start seating people according to how they performed at previous tournaments. He starts ranking people as they register, and the ones that are pre-registered, so we can kind of establish a fair bracket before we start a tournament. Players usually start rolling around 7. They warm up on the sticks for about a half an hour. Kind of have some fun. Break the nerves, and then 7:30 we kick off. We get into action. Brackets start right away. Boom. A lot of fun. And then usually we whittle things down to a top 6, and then once we hit top 6 or sometimes top 8, we'll go live on Twitch and let the world see the best of the best, hash it out. So break it down. Break down, get home at 12:30 or 1 after breaking down, and go to work, get set up, start the next day. You pretty much get like 1 or 2 days off, and then you're automatically starting to prepare for the next showdown. So it's a lot of fun though. We do that throughout the year. About 40 or 42 weeks out of the year. We have some holidays in there, and sometimes some Mondays where we take off. But yeah, roughly about 42 weekly tournaments a year, aside from other community stuff that we do.
And what are some of these venues where you've held tournaments? You talked about a little bit. We've mentioned libraries. We've also mentioned MAGFest. But
yeah,
what are some of the like? Can you recall all the different kinds of venues that you've held tournaments in?
well, we initially, like I said, we started off at the Boys and Girls Club. Initially, like I said, running tournaments there at the Boys and Girls Club. We did that we did that like every week for about a year or so. And
That
then
was Delaware.
Yep, that was the Boys and Girls Club of Seaford
Seaford, okay.
at the time. Yep, and Western Sussex Boys and Girls Club at the time, and then we graduated to. I think the first time we left that venue, we there was a place called the Marina. It has a different name now, but it was the Seafront Marina. It was a beautiful, like a 2-story bar, with a beautiful upstairs bar and grill, and we ran tournaments out of there for quite a while. Um, and then we ran stuff out of the Seaford Library in that same area. Did that for a couple years or so. And then we went towards Salisbury. We had met a guy who wanted us to come and run tournaments regularly out of his store, at a place. He owned a virtual reality store called Escape Reality, Yeah, it was an awesome place. Just a great place to game. It was small and quaint, but man, there was so many cool things there. One of my definitely uh one of my favorite venues.
Where was that? Was that there when I lived in
Yep,
Salisbury?
it was in Salisbury Mall. I don't know if you call it in the
Salisbury
Salisbury.
Mall. Okay.
Yeah, it was actually down from Annie M's Pretzels, just in front of the Dev. I don't know if you remember the Dev. It was across the way
I
from
have probably never made
the
it
Dev.
past Auntie Anne's pretzels
Oh,
without getting
well, yeah,
one.
yeah.
So
You had
who
to make
knows?
right. Exactly. Funny enough, when we were there, right, a lot of our players used to, because it was right there, they used to sneak out the door and go to Annie M's Pretzels. And man, we'd kill them every Monday night. So at the end of the shift, they would actually bring the remaining pretzels into they'd bring them down to us, yeah, and we get free pretzels and stuff.
My
And I
dream.
remember, oh yeah, absolutely. Oh, we loved it. We was like, so they became the first unofficial sponsor of STG. So we were quick to put them
Nice.
on streams. Yeah, yo, come check out NAM's pretzels in the mall. They're amazing.
They're mostly
Yeah,
butter. You love it.
oh
Yeah.
yeah, absolutely, absolutely. So I love to mix mine with the cheese and pizza sauce. That. But yeah, good times definitely. Good times definitely. Um, things changed there for them. I think he had two stores at the time. He was having that success on the Rehoboth Beach boardwalk. He had a second shop there. We'd run a few
Hmm.
tournaments out of there, and so he had opened up this his second store in the mall, and it was good for a couple of years, but unfortunately things didn't quite work out for them, and so they had to close shop. And then we found ourselves, back in Delaware looking for a venue, and we met Lewis from the Vault. He was in Harrington at the time. We struck a deal with him, and we ran tournaments out of there for about 5 or 6 months, and then um, he upgraded to the Vault in Felton, Delaware, and that was kind of a special place too there because it was located right in the center of Delaware. So we were starting to we were drawing players from northern Delaware and southern Delaware, and we were even drawing players from out of Virginia. It was a
Hmm.
really, really special time. We definitely were saturating really good in the gaming scene, getting players from everywhere. It was amazing. It was a good time.
That
Like I said, I
original.
know.
Oh, I was gonna say
Mhm.
that original vault location is that the flea market?
Oh yeah, wow.
Okay,
Yeah,
because
we've been
we
all
got
over
to
the
talk
place,
about
right?
we got to talk
Before
about the flea market, which is where I met you.
yes, that's right.
Which
It was
chat,
it
if
was
you've never
twisted
been to
at
Delaware,
Toledo.
not an
Yeah,
uncommon sentence. The flea market where I met you. Because let me tell
yes.
you, all the best stuff in Delaware happens in the back of a flea market. But no,
I
speaking about
hate to say it. You couldn't be
the
more
best
right though.
Mexican food I've had in my life, a flea market in Delaware. And you know what I had for dessert?
Yeah,
A Vietnamese donut. I turned around and it was right there.
it was right there.
I turned around and guess what?
There
Say
yeah, there was
hmm
a used N64, a Vietnamese donut, and like
Yes,
the most bold pattern shirt you ever saw.
yes.
Nice.
Dare I say? I mean, Delaware is, we're definitely we're definitely country down here. One of the, you know, in Delaware, like you said, it's flea markets. I'll say it's baseball flea markets, funnel cakes,
Ooh.
and places to dine, all you can eat buffets. Like we were
I was
all
gonna say
about that.
slippery noodles. That's the other thing that makes me
Haggling,
think of
yes,
Delaware.
Mm,
yes, yes,
Yeah.
slippery noodles, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we're all about that life.
I mean,
Definitely all about that life.
I mean, like your org is called Small Town Gaming,
Yes,
you know,
yeah,
and people
yeah,
were like, "Oh yeah, come to Small Town Gaming." I think it was Rambler that you mentioned. He was like, "Oh
yeah,
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 come if you want to commentate, come to Small Town Gaming." He
yeah.
gave
It
me
was
the
like,
address, and I'm like,
mhm.
"Huh, this doesn't look like an arcade or anything. This looks like a card shop at a flea market."
It was,
But
it
like you
was, it
said,
was.
you're just that country in Delaware.
Yeah, yeah.
yeah, there
That
you go.
that place. Say again. Oh yeah, that place was called Twisted Aether. Twisted
Oh,
Aether card shop. Yeah. It was ran by a gentleman named Arthur, and he was having some success. It was one of the main places you could come to. There were a couple different places you could play in southern Delaware, but that his was pretty popular, pretty new and upcoming at the time. Um, yeah, man, we had a lot of different genre players come through there. We often would mix it up on nights when the card gamers were there and stuff. So card gamers and console gamers getting together. It was some good times. Good times there. Yeah, you're right. That's exactly. That is where we met. That
Yeah.
is the origin. I was thinking it was the vault, but
I
it was
wasn't. I
just
was at the
before.
vault
Just
for a
where the vault
while
was twisted
because it
into.
was right
Yeah, you're
before the
right.
vault, right? Because I
Yep,
remember.
it
I
was
remember.
just before
And
the
like you
vault.
said, the vault was in the center of Delaware, like the center of the
It
state.
was.
So it was a
Yep,
little. It was a little longer of a drive. That's where I really started carpooling, like I said.
yep,
But
yep.
that flea market those pot roast sandwiches. Oh my god.
Yes. Yeah,
Oh.
we. Oh yeah, we had Chef Fred. We had convinced him to stay open a little later.
Yeah.
Nice.
He enjoyed. Yeah, we definitely he loved the support that our group brought. I think it was on Tuesday nights then. I think we were doing tournaments then. Was it Monday?
I
I think it was Tuesday nights then.
I
Yeah,
think it was
was
Tuesday.
it
Yeah.
Tuesday? Yeah. Oh man, he had some great. He always had some good stuff there, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, we killed it. Loved it. Loved it.
But this is kind of a throwback to a previous person Shirley and I talked to,
Hmm. Hmm.
who was very involved in melee specifically. But
Okay.
he said um like the symbol in his head
Hmm.
of like what like video game culture is someone carrying a CRT tube TV. And
Mm-hmm.
and
That's
Mm-hmm.
true.
and I was like, have I come to the right place? Is this where the tournament is? And I see people walking into the card store in the flea market carrying their own CRT tube TVs, and I'm
Yes.
like, oh,
Yep.
this is the place.
This
This is
is
the
the
place.
place. You have arrived.
Mm-hmm.
True, true, true. Yep, Rambler still does to this day, man. He brings out the CRTs. We see the CRTs and the GameCubes. We know Melee is on the scene. We're so grateful, to have a person like that. I mean, to be able to still, uh, offer competitions in that genre from week to week. So yeah, that was pretty cool. More good memories.
And then let's get all the way. You talked about cons. You talked about Ocean
Hmm.
City Comic Con, MAGFest, which is like basically a small town
Hmm.
in itself, like 20,000 people or something. You know.
Oh my gosh,
But and
yes.
so talk about what you do when you're at MAGFest and like what that operation is like.
MaxFest is it's such a huge undertaking. I was um, I was watching like some of your, I was hearing you talk about MagFest in your previous stream, and I was like, man, it sounds like so much fun. I was like, I'm right there, right? But but man, we run tournaments around the clock. I remember when we our first year of MagFest, we actually ran 13 tournaments in the weekend. It was just me and Evan had went down there that time. Um, the year before, well, let me go back a little. So Jason is our representative um, for MagFest. He was our original representative. Um, we met him through another friend of his. His name is Dominic Grande. He used to come to our free play days, and he used to have some kids that he was mentoring. They come to our free play days, and Dom had mentioned us to Jason, and I mentioned when we were down at Escape Reality, he had mentioned we were running a Street Fighter tournament, and Jason he drove up from Virginia to participate, and it was a smaller tournament, but Jason was amazing, man. He was awesome on the sticks. Made it to grand finals. We had a great time. After the tournament was over, um, he had come to us and said, "Hey, how would you guys like to come down to DC and run some tournaments at an event called Mag Labs?" I don't know if you ever been to Mag
I've
Labs.
not been to Mag Labs. Yeah, describe Mag Labs.
So Mag Labs was, well, it was it was well, that's exactly what it was. It was kind of like an inner city convention there in DC. It was a little more. I would say it was probably a little bit more locally populated than Supermag. Supermag, you just get people from all areas of the world.
I have a
But
friend from New Zealand who flies into MagFest. Exactly. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. I mean, just people from everywhere. Mag Labs, it was a pretty cool deal. It was at a hotel across the other side of the city there. And he just wants to come and run some next gen tournaments because in DC, retro games are the big deal there. They love everything retro, but they didn't have a next generation element, or it was kind of, they didn't have next generation competitions going on as much. So they brought us in to do some next gen stuff, and we got down to Mag Labs, and man, we kind of nailed it. And he's like, hey, why don't you guys come back next year? We do Super MagFest in the fall, and we had done a little homework on that, so we were happy to get that invite. We were excited, man. The first time, the hotel itself was mind blowing. Is mind blowing. I've been going there 5 or 6 years. I never get tired of going. It's the Gaylord National Hotel is such a special place.
Biggest hotel on the
Um,
East Coast.
yeah,
I think.
absolutely.
Yeah.
I would say absolutely. And just as elegant, and then the show itself is amazing. Amazing show inside of an amazing venue. It's just nostalgic. Man, I must go for anybody who hasn't been. Once you go once, you just like you have to go. You have to be there every year.
Yeah.
We definitely look forward to it. It's our big kickoff event. Gives us a lot of momentum to start the year out. Fantastic.
I don't think you're the only person who says that because I think like in
Mhm.
many ways Magfest is like the kickoff event because it's like a January con. It's like the kickoff event for video game culture. You
It
know what I
is
mean? It kind of sets the
absolutely.
tone for the year. Yeah.
It does. I think for a lot of entities, it does. It certainly does for us. We just get so much momentum um, and traction off that event. It's just good to start the year. It kind of gets the juices, the competitive juices flowing, the tournament juices going. Just gets us hyped for what's in store for the rest of the year. We usually take a break there going into Christmas, about halfway through December. We'll take a break halfway through December and all the way up until MagFest in January. Just kind of you know reboot and maybe think of come up with some new strategy for the upcoming year. And yeah, we kick it off with MagFest. You get that huge jump, that huge boost right there at the start of the year. So.
Have you been to Magfest not running a tournament in the basement? Like have you ever gone just as a spectator?
I've never not gone as a spectator actually.
Okay.
I've always gone as a contractor.
Yeah.
Hmm.
I Like I said, that's why I was kind of like emptying some of the conversation because our focus is tournaments. But I'm just as infatuated with the people who come out and play in our tournaments, all the different walks of life, all the conversations that you hear. There's an adventure right there in consoles. Man, we get it in, and then afterwards, I'm even though I might feel like a zombie, I'll walk aimlessly through the convention. I walk into indie and into arcades, hit up to concerts, just taking it all in. I just enjoy, you know, I just enjoy, being around my people, if you
Yeah.
will. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
I can tell you, gamers and geeks, we've been fooling everybody for years. There is no doubt. Uh, you cannot tell me now that gamers and geeks, they're the best partiers in the world, man. Like nobody parties like us. Such a judgment-free area. Like it's almost anything goes. You
Hmm.
have to do something hilariously crazy in order to get noticed. Um, but it is like it's unlimited. It's just an amazing. It's amazing thing to see. I love when we get together like that. It's pure fun.
What do you what are some things you like about doing a MAGFest or doing a big con that can't be like replicated at another venue? And like vice versa, what's like some of the joy of playing like a boys and girls club or the library that you don't get out of MAGFest? You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, first of all, what I love about MagFest, because it's the tournaments that we run, they're like when we do tournaments around here, we run them off Start GG. Those are ranked tournaments. You're basically ranked tournaments. You kind of you're in our Delaware ranking system when you play in this area. It's a public rankings thing going on. But when you go to MagFest, the tournaments are casual tournaments. But the thing about a casual tournaments is you get a wide range of players. You get a lot of some people might be playing for the first time. Some people might be playing because hey, they love the game. They play it at home all the time in the lands. And then every now and then, um, somebody familiar or unfamiliar or famous will walk through. You'll get a couple pro players mixed up in there. You don't really know too much about them, but usually somebody like it's like, hey man, that guy, man, he's a pro. He's super talented. I remember our first year, we had a guy that we were doing a double elimination, I think, in our first year, and guy he got sent to losers bracket. Um, like in the first round. And he was going to head back to his room. He came to talk to me. He said, "Hey man, I think I'm probably going to bail out, but I was wondering, can a friend of mine take my spot?" And I was like, "Man, I don't know." He's like, "Listen, man, he drove all the way from Canada just to come out and compete." I was like, "Well, it's casual." I was like, "Sure." So we let this guy into the tournament. It was Street Fighter. This is against STG protocol. Only admit it now because it's long years past. The statute of limitations is past now. But we let him in, and my God, this guy cleaned house, man. He won the whole tournament, and then we found out a little later that he was a prominent pro fighter from out of Canada, Street Fighter guy. He had a volume of 8,000. He was amazing to watch. I mean, it was a great stream. I felt bad though that I brought that havoc down on everybody, but yeah, those are the kind of things you can get. You get such a random assortment of players, and it's good. It's good for beginner players. They they might have a little success. They might meet their wall, but meeting your wall in your first tournament is a good thing because it lets you see where the bar is. Everybody comes to those tournaments and like, I am the king.
I'm the best person
And
on my
then,
street. Yeah.
yeah, right. You know what I mean? Like nobody can beat you. And then you aside from someone who is just as passionate uh, and has the same thought process as you, and you get to see where the real bar is. It's a beautiful thing to get owned in your first tournament.
Nice.
So, yep,
Yeah.
yep. So,
And
yeah.
you have STG Small Town Gaming. You have Small
Hmm.
Town uh in the title.
Yep.
And
Yeah.
but what are some ways like would you say you embody a small town even when you're in like you're traveling to DC and you're at this big con, but what are some of the ways you still stay true to being small town?
Oh yeah, I mean, we again, small town gaming. That was kind of our motto. We were a group of guys, from a small town in Delaware. We had a little motto that group of guys. Oh man, one of our founders, one of our original founders, he made a little rap song about it, but uh, I was basically talking about like a group of guys from a small town here. Seaford was kind of like off the map. Delaware is a
Yeah.
small state. Seaford, you know, just kind of a quaint little place. So we prided ourselves in that. When we founded the name, our goal, we knew the name was kind of like you were kind of inviting, I guess, you're inviting small, humble beginnings, but we wanted to kind of be more than the name. So it was kind of a challenge um, to kind of outgrow the name or outgrow the perception of 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 being a small town. But when we go to when we run our events or when we go to go out of go out of town to different places like that to huge cities, like MAGFest, um, the the main thing that we try to keep true to is we want people to see we want people to enjoy the tournaments, but we also want to see our passion, our love for the game. You know, we're the number one fans. I mean, or for us, it's all about the story. It's all about the player and their experience. So as long as that's we're conveying that to our players and they feel like that, then it's mission accomplished for us. Um, yeah.
I think if people who've lived in like a rural area,
Hmm.
they know that like when you're really with a group of people,
Hmm.
whether it's your family or have like a really close knit
Yeah.
like group of guys,
Yeah.
feel
Absolutely.
you feel important. You know what I mean? You feel like you
Yeah.
belong somewhere, and I feel like that's what you're talking about. That
Yeah.
like people
Absolutely.
belong. People belong. People you
Yeah.
know each other, and you see each other regularly, and everybody belongs.
Yep.
Hmm.
You're absolutely right. We're definitely a close knit bunch of people. We were a close knit group of guys. So proud of the community, that we are able to engage daily. They're like family, and everywhere we go, you know, we we think of it as expanding the family. I mean, that concept of family, fun, and competitive vibes. It's a great combination.
Hmm.
One of the reasons why we love to do what we do on a daily basis. So,
Hmm.
So
yep.
you mentioned you're like the concept that like you're the number one fan.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
How
yeah.
did you know you were like being called to be to be
Oh,
everybody's number one fan? It strikes me that's so
okay.
accurate. Being around you,
Yeah,
you're everyone in the venue's
yeah.
number one fan. How did you know that's like that was your thing?
So, well, the very first tournament that we ran, I was telling you about the Boys and Girls Club, right?
Hmm.
One of our deals, um, one of the deals that we had with the Boys and Girls Club was we were going to show their kids, we were going to show them Street Fighter. Um, Street Fighter, it was a 10-year-old game back then, but we loved it. Right? So we wanted to show it to them. Um, and then I think a few months after, I think about 5 or 6 months of that, we were planning on holding our first local tournament there. Of course, we're gonna bring in a wide range of uh, ages, kids and adults, and we were prepared um, for this event. We prepared for it for I believe 5 or 6 months, right? So the day before the Boys and Girls Club, we were anticipating, having that weekend to ourselves. But the day before the Boys and Girls Club, unbeknownst to us, they ran a surprise, like a dance or an event, and of course there was hundreds of school kids there. They spent all their monies that night, and then the next day was our tournament. And because a lot of kids had been out the night before, it definitely hurt our attendance for our first uh, local tournament. We only had like a couple people. We were expecting like in our minds, we were expecting like hundreds of people to come. And I remember two people showed up on our very first tournament. You talk about heartbreaker, right? So
Wow.
at first I was like, man, you know, maybe this isn't for us. You know what I mean? Talk about reality check. I mean, talk about, months of preparation. Um, but right away, right then, we huddled up and we said to ourselves, you know what? It doesn't matter. We
Hmm.
decided to ourselves, it doesn't matter how many people were there, whether it's two or 2,000. we want to put on a show. We want no matter what, we don't want the experience for those whoever's in attendance. We wanted to have the best experience there. And I tell you what, that little two person tournament, it was exciting. I was like, man, you know what? Like they came out to our tournament to be hosted by us. There that love for the player and the competitor, was born. When we presented them the trophies or when they won their events, seeing that excitement in their eyes, so watching them, the joy in their eyes, at winning a competition or being the best at at what they did. I was like, man, it's really special for them. And I fell in love with the player, not only the player but their story. And of course, as we grew, I mean, the scene got we got much bigger over the years. But I love um, I love seeing where players start, seeing where the stories start. I remember a lot of them coming in shy and not confident. It's my first tournament. They got all the nerves. Nerves are a killer. And then you watch them for about 6 months to a year, and you see their attitudes, their behavior, their confidence changes, and they evolve into something else. And then years later, you're looking at them as like they're this phenom in their field, and you see newer players coming in there like, man, they're so good, man. How can, you know, I can only hope to be like them. And I'm like, man, if you had seen that guy a few, so I pride myself. I'm kind of a story keeper, so I pride myself in knowing everybody's story. Like I said, we have like 15 or 20,000 photos uploaded onto our Facebook, and that's probably half of. I took all those photos. That's probably half of the thing. You know what I mean? I'm kind of like the
Oh man.
record keeper, and you could like probably scroll to a random pic. I don't care what era it is, and I'm gonna know. I'm gonna know the story behind it. I'm gonna know what's happening. I'm gonna know who the players are. I'm gonna know. It's. I count it all joy to, to know those players, to know those stories. To have them all locked up and in my heart and in my mind. And I love I'm everybody's fan. You know what I mean? So when I see players like with you branching out here, doing your thing here at Folk Wise, you don't know, I was like, I love you as a friend. I'm even more impressed with like all your endeavors. When you reached out and said, "Hey, I want to do an interview," I was honored because I'm like, I usually follow. I was following Folkwise. I was watching I've hit your stream quite a few times actually. Just to keep. I was like, "Oh, what's Dom doing?" I was like scrolling through Twitch, like, "Hey, Dom's on."
Yeah.
I mean, we were following you with the STG channel, so I'd see the pop on there. I was like, "Man, guys look like you're having so much fun." So I was super excited, when you asked me to be a part. You had been a big part of STG, so I was super honored just to be a part. I appreciate you guys. Like I said again, just being here, having that opportunity. Anybody who's ever laid a brick, in other words, been a part of STG or helped us, climb a little higher. I'm super indebted, from the smallest of efforts to to you know, outright, compelling support. Every piece is critical to me. So yeah, I'm everybody's number one fan.
First, I want to say thank you, Death Lords, for the 5
Yeah.
gifted subs.
Oh my.
That
Awesome.
came
Oh
at a
wow.
beautiful punctuation point.
Hey.
Also,
Awesome.
as you may see, sub goal for this month. We got the ticker at the bottom. Thank you for those subs. Thank you for contributing to the goal. But I do want to, and I didn't say this early, Shirley. I didn't say this earlier, and I saw that you did kind of call me out in chat. Hello to my mom, and more importantly, to Bo, who is a dog watching on my stepdad's lap right now, no doubt. Hi,
Wow.
Bo. How
What's
are
going
you?
on, bro?
What's going on, Bo? But Javon, I just want to point out that like we
Yeah.
were talking about you being a number one fan, and to illustrate that, you went into like knee
Mm.
jerk number one fan mode about me, and I'm like,
Yeah, yeah,
geez,
yeah.
I'm blushing because it's like you can
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
you're not
Yeah.
kidding. You're not
Yeah,
kidding.
yeah, 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 for real. For real,
You
for
really
real.
are just like that.
I'm just like that, man. For real. Like
Just
I
comes
mean
so
that to the
naturally.
core of my soul.
It
Yeah.
does come naturally.
Um,
And
I
it's
think
crazy. Like
that's
he's
what I
you
love.
were saying that about like all the countless thousands of pictures you have of players and
Mhm.
of like of like top three photos at the end of tournaments. You know everyone's
Yeah.
story, and then you're just like,
Yep.
oh, and here's the story of Folkwise because I've been watching you guys. Like I'm also your guys' fan. Like
Yeah.
no, like
Yep.
you can't. You're
Yeah.
not faking it. You're not faking
Yeah,
it.
I keep up. I keep up with my people. Yeah, I definitely keep up with my people.
How,
Like I said, yeah.
how many like can you even like quantify like how many like players have come through your tournaments like since you
Oh my
started?
gosh. We have it's literally thousands of players. And that's thousands of players outside just in the local players alone. We've had
Oh
thousands
yeah.
of players come through. And then, when you start going to conventions and stuff, that just expands that definitely expands uh, the people that increases the circle, if you will. Yeah, but there's always even at our conventions and stuff, there is always, like a handful of guys that you remember. But if they're regular, if they're coming back, like I'm remembering them. They come up to me, "You remember me?" I was like, "Of course, I remember you. I took photos of you. I watched you play in Domini. You know what I mean? I remember, you getting excited and running around the tables. I
Oh
remember that.
wow.
Yeah, yeah.
And
I've had guys. I'm good.
no, you finish that.
I remember in our Madden bracket we had a guy. His name was actually Carol Watson, right?
I was gonna say
But
if this is Dom tall or Dom venti or Dom extra large or whatever, I'm gonna be upset.
right.
But
No, no, this guy, he was in our Madden tournaments. It's one of the first Madden tournaments we had. No, actually, it wasn't the first Madden tournaments, but we were probably about 7 or 8 tournaments in to that scene. And he came out. He was a really good player. He had a lot of energy. Instantly connected with him, and his name was Carol Watson. However, I um I had wrote his name down wrong during pre-registration, and I called him Chris Watson throughout the whole tournament. And I remember on the mics I'm commentating, I'm commentating while he's playing. We didn't have Twitch then, so we had the mics. So I'm on the mics and the speakers
yeah,
like, yeah,
the
Watson,
shoutcast.
yeah, Chris Watson. And then some guy taps me on my shoulder. He's like, yo, man, you know that guy's name? It's Carol
Oh.
Watson, right? And he was a few feet away from me, and he was like, "No, no, no, man, listen, I don't care about that. I just love the way he's saying money." And so from that moment on, even though he was Carol, he was Chris Watson. So everyone was like, "Yo, Chris Watson!" Like he loved that. Butchered his name the whole night, but he loved
Yeah.
he loved how that all went down. So like, yeah, you remember different things. You remember those type of players, those high energy players, those those special moments like that.
Mhm. Mhm.
So
And these players though are like
hmm
by and large
hmm
like what would you say like the ages of the players are?
our average player is anywhere from 13 to 35 or 40, maybe 45.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Definitely. Definitely a wide range of players, and all our communities are special. Like any age player can come through and um, and participate in our tournaments, and they're just the type of people. Like I said, we're a tight knit family. So if you're younger, you're gonna come in. You might end up getting pitted against an adult player. They're kind of like feel you out, see what kind of talent you got. before they systematically eliminate you. And then by the end of the tournament, they're taking them under their wing, and showing some basics and stuff, just kind of like, giving them something to, something to play off of. And they love it. You watch those youngsters come up and grow and mature within the ranks.
Hmm.
And then we have other guys that come in, older guys that come in, and they're competing for the first time. It's uh, it's it's just amazing to see the system work, with very little intervention. It's a special thing being a part of a local. Like attending locals regularly, you become family. Um, you know, if you want to be great, you got to hang around people. People with that type of skill set. It's like the more you hang around, that the better you become, and the better you become, the make the people around you better. That's what I love about tournaments. It's a place to develop, find out about yourself, and develop your skill. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
Kind of find out who you are. That's what competition is all about. Definitely.
It's like video games. We use this term esports,
Mm,
and
yeah.
Hmm.
in many ways, video games are like sports, especially the ones like the that you play on a team.
Yep.
But in many ways, I think like the sport it's most like is running a marathon. Because like
Yeah.
you have to like you have to improve yourself before
Hmm.
you can like worry about like defeating another person one on one. It's more about like
Yeah.
you need to get your it's about building your personal best first. It's like it's
Absolutely.
a marathon, or like it's weightlifting more than it's like
Yep.
basketball. You know what I mean? I've always
Yep.
appreciated
Yeah.
that.
Yep. Yeah. There's a huge difference. Like that's you couldn't explain it any better. Yeah. It is. It really is a marathon. You jump in, you get your feet wet, you find out where the bar is, and then you
Hmm.
go to work. Some people come away from there, maybe their pride's hurt a little bit, but it's the next day. Like you're all nerves the first time, and you're like, most times you get creamed in your first outing because you can't handle the nerves. It's not that you don't have the skill, you do have the skill, but it's hard to execute because if you play online or you've played, with your friends, it's easy playing with friends, but playing with a stranger next to you, you don't know from 10 buck two, how good is he? And then you have a crowd at your back, there's like this adrenaline rush, and it's hard to handle your first time through for most players. Um,
Hmm.
but afterwards, when it's all said and done, the following day, everything starts like playing back like in slow motion. It's like, oh man, I could have done this here, could have done this there. I was watching with this. I understand now with what my opponent was trying to do to me. And again, you start to see the bar, and he's like, man, I see, the ceiling gets bigger, and you see where you can improve. And he's like, you know what? Next time I come back, boom, I'm gonna bring this. I'm gonna bring this to the table. Um,
Yeah.
and that's what it's about: staying consistent, running that marathon, getting better and better. So
Yeah.
and that same marathon. That's what I love. That's the story there. That's the drive. That's what I love. The growth, the progression, the evolution of these players. Pretty awesome to see, to be a part of. You know. So
Yeah, it's
yeah.
it's so cool seeing the same people
Hmm.
come back, even if they're not the same people. Seeing people come and go, like you've probably seen
Yep.
generations of Delaware
Absolutely.
gaming by now.
Yeah.
And
I
you're but
actually
and
have. Yeah.
yeah, it's what we'll talk about.
Yep.
And you're the person who knows the story. Talk about that.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So Punk. Do you remember Punky from STG? We had a few years ago. We were fortunate enough to um, have an esports team, a Smash esports team, and we had a guy AFX Punky. I don't know if you remember Punky. Um, just comes onto the scene, and onto the Smash scene. He was an online player, and man, he just makes an immediate impact. Never played in-person tournaments a day in his life, and he comes in the scene. He's just like makes waves. But the thing about Punky, like I was like his prefix was AFX, Punky, and I was like, I said AFX. I'm like, It's like, where do I know that name? And then he let me know that um, his father was a guy named Chris Matthews. And I remember Chris Matthews. He said, yeah, my father used to compete in your tournaments. I said, really? And then I put it together. AFX was actually a Call of Duty team, and our one of our very first Call of Duty tournaments. His father was a member of a team called Affliction, and they were so dominant. They won so many of our tournaments, man. They were just like, you hear about Optic Gaming, that like that the Call of Duty Optic team. This Affliction was much like that. They were just really a bunch of cool guys. Like, it's like, man, you just want to be a part of the clique. Like they just had that like calm, cool, oh man, just like confident, headstrong. You know what I mean? But they had this coolness about it. I was like, man, I couldn't be that cool if I tried it all my life. But they dominated our Call of Duty scene there for quite a while. And when I found out that he was the son of Chris Matthews, that was so exciting to see. That you know, second generation here. He's playing Smash, of course. He's not playing first person shooters, but he's playing he's playing platformers. He's into the fighting genre. And his father was in the shooters genre. It was pretty cool. It was very exciting. Very
That's like
exciting.
it's like the organization branched out to a Smash
That is so
player.
cool.
Yeah, it was pretty cool. Yeah, it was pretty cool. And his father started coming to the tournaments and stuff too.
uh,
He didn't compete, but I knew, I know where Punky's where his confidence and his work ethic in terms of competition. I know where that's fueling from. I mean, so he
that's
comes from some deep roots.
that's incredible. Yeah, it really is incredible. Chat
Yeah,
agrees. Chat agrees.
Truly,
Chat
yeah.
love that
yeah,
story.
yeah,
Yeah, but
yeah, yeah.
it's like you were around like the video game equivalent of like Arvidas and Domantas Sabonis or something. You know what I mean? It's like it was a
Yeah.
sports dynasty, but it was like an esports
Yeah.
dynasty. And
Listen,
yeah,
I'm so glad like in 2016, I'm so glad like when I heard the word esports, I was like, yeah, I like the ring of that. You know what I mean? I was like, before there was before the word esports was even born, even came to be, we were running tournaments, they were just like video game tournaments. That was like the best you could come out to
Mhm.
your local video game tournaments. And back then the world just had it was a perception of games, of how gaming was perceived back then. If you were gaming during my day, if you were a hardcore gamer, you might have been, you were either wasting time, needed to get out and get a job. I mean, it just was like, this is for kids, for a certain genre, certain group or age of player. But man, in 2016, when esports started to come around, and grassroots organizations started to get some traction, and we started getting some sponsors. It really changed the game. So I'm so glad for the esports movement. You know,
Mhm.
we planted our seeds in barren ground initially. There was a lot of watering and irrigation prior to that. Now, it's if you wanted to jump in this field and to get into you know to do this, it's a lot easier. Now that the ground has been fertilized, if you will.
yeah,
Mhm.
Yeah, yeah. So I'm glad that we had in this area that we stuck with it, and we sort of kind of cultivated the scene around here. And you know, I'd like to feel like we had a hand in helping others get started,
yeah.
just by you know sticking it out, toughing it out.
Yeah.
So yeah,
That's excellent.
yeah,
Right.
yeah.
And it's really I'd like to think uh I don't know, Delaware specifically, but like
Mhm.
all types of places across the like the Mid Atlantic, but like not in
Oh
like
yeah,
you got all those big cities, and then you've got like
yes,
the coolest, like you'll find the coolest stuff off the beaten
you
track
will.
in in these parts of America that are like some of the older parts. You
Absolutely.
know what I mean?
Yep.
And I think like
Yep.
SDG is one of those things that I can
Yep.
say in my
Mm.
time in like in Maryland in Delaware. It was one of those things where like these people have been here for a while. They know what they're doing, and they're
Yeah.
off the beaten path,
Off
so
the
to
beaten
speak.
path.
But
Yeah.
they're
Yep.
they're really like they really know what they're doing. Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. And I appreciate that. I really do. You have no idea. Like those, there's always just the smallest of encouragement. You know what I mean? It means so much. Coming from players like you who've supported us over the years. Just kind of hearing that thank you, bringing it back, that just keeps it going. The major scenes, they're special. They're broadcasted. Everyone gets a chance to see those, but the local scenes, that's where all the good juices. So that's where the seeds are born. Do you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
everybody, you could probably, you know, if every local could get their story noticed or in the spotlight, it'd be a beautiful thing. It'd
Hmm.
be a really beautiful thing for everybody to see.
Because you don't get those giant tournaments like at Evo in Las Vegas
Yeah.
or Super Smash Con in Northern Virginia
Hmm.
without like
Yeah.
thousands of Seaford
Yep.
Delawares. You know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Hmm.
Yeah. So that's that's a special thing. We look at a lot of your pro players, and we know them on a national level. It's like, but for those players, at that particular player's locals, that's phenomenal. You know what I mean? To see somebody from your ranks, to make it, what I mean, to hit the mainstream. He's like, man, I know that I played alongside that individual, or
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
we just go back and forth. You take, I don't know if you guys know who Sonic Fox is,
Of
right?
course. Another Dom. Another person named Dom.
Yeah,
Yeah. But of
yeah,
course,
yeah.
Sonic
Right, right,
Fox.
right, right. Sonic
The
Fox,
all
man.
time greatest
So dumb.
Skullgirls Mortal Kombat player, yeah.
Mortal Kombat, yeah. Right here from Delaware, man.
Yeah.
Right
Is
here
it
from
Wilmington?
Delaware, yeah. Yeah. I want to let's see the Townsend. I think he's from Townsend. I think
Townsend? Okay.
Dragon. There's another guy, Dragon. I think he's from out of
Okay.
like New York. I could be wrong. I believe he's Townsend. He's either Townsend or Wilmington. I think currently he resides in New York, but
Yeah.
uh, yeah. Yeah, he was pretty cool. He was at MAGFest too, of course.
Oh, so I've seen Sonic Fox
Mhm.
just in consoles, and like it's
Yeah,
one of those
yeah,
things where you're like, well, like, they don't have the ears on, you know,
yeah. Right,
so
right.
you wouldn't
Yeah.
know Sonic Fox from any other player in the arcade without
Oh,
Hmm.
the blue furry ears on, but
well, I had followed him for quite a bit. Man, I remember the first time I had mentioned him. Stryker actually, he follows him on Twitter,
yeah,
and he was like, "Hey, man, I heard Sonic Fox was coming." I was like, "Get out of here! He's not coming to MagFest." He's like, "I'm telling you, I heard he was here. I heard he's
yeah,
coming." I was like, "All right, well, we'll see." We were running Mortal Kombat that year. I think we were running Mortal Kombat 11 that year. And I think the very first night we always open up. I think we opened up with Street Fighter 5,
yeah,
and I wasn't paying any mind. And then Fred, he goes get the list for the players who enter the tournaments. And he comes rushing back. He's like, "Yo, look who made the list!" And I looked down the list and I was like, "Sonic, fuck! I didn't even know he played Street Fighter." I was like, "Are you serious?"
I don't
Uh, it,
I don't
it was
does Sonic Fox play Street Fighter? I mean, I bet
he
Sonic Fox can
played.
play whatever, but
He could play whatever, yes.
yeah,
But I was like, I have never known him to play Street Fighter, and I'm like, he's in our Street Fighter tournament. And I played it. I played it as cool as I could, but I remember just watching. I was just like starstruck, man. I was
I
like,
think
that's
I
that's
think I came
Sonic Fox
over.
down there.
I think I
Yeah,
came
you were
over and
there.
watched Grants.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
I was like,
Well,
Brad,
he
what's going
was.
on? He was like, Sonic Foxes and Grants and Street Fighter. I'm like,
Well, he. The thing about Sonic Fox that year, he had he didn't make grands. He did get through round one, but there was another guy, Ludwig, he played, and Ludwig was actually he's another established player. Ludwig had taken him out, and Ludwig had beat him in grands. But I remember when or Ludwig had went on to win the whole thing.
Yeah. Okay. Okay.
But I remember,
I saw a match that I assumed was Grand's because it was
well,
obviously
I know what you're
pros.
talking
Yeah.
about.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
know exactly what you're talking about. So when the Street Fighter tournament was over, I was like, yo, man, thank you for coming. Just honored to meet you, right? I thought that was going to be the end. It's okay, cool.
Yeah.
He's came out and played for Street Fighter. I was like, man, just to be able to say Sonic Fox was in one of our tournaments.
Yeah.
And so the next day, we had Mortal Kombat, and I was like, man, I hope
I
Sonic
wish.
Fox comes back. I was like, he would probably like run, wreak havoc, what I mean, in our Mortal Kombat. And I watched that Mortal Kombat tournament. I was watching the roster. I'm like, man, where's he
Come
at?
on.
Where's he at? It's
Come on.
filling up. Come on, Sonic Fox, come back. And there was like 15 minutes to go, or we got about 5 minutes to go. No, 15 minutes ago. I'm sorry. And then the roster was pretty much finalized. Like, okay, let's enter, get the players in the brackets. We had about like 15 or 20. And while we are yet preparing to get everybody in brackets, Sonic Fox walks up and he's in his full furry uniform.
Let's
He's
go.
got the wolf on, and he comes up to me and say, "Yo, yo, 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 let me get on the sticks. Let me get on the sticks." He wasn't in the
Oh my
tournament, but
goodness.
he wanted to. We
To
always have
play.
like
Yeah.
we have the tournament screen. The main console is always up there playing.
Yeah.
And I was like, heck yeah. So he gets on six. I'm like, so I get on the mic like, yo, anybody who wants a shot at Sonic Fox, now is your time. He wasn't in the tournament. I was like, but I'm gonna, he's playing. He wants to play some Mortal Kombat.
Yeah.
He was all
Yeah.
grinning ear to ear. So while I was yet making that announcement, right?
Grinning in your ear. Well, the
Uh,
mask looks like that, but
yeah, yeah, true.
underneath.
But he was like, I think he had his I don't know if he had the wolf mask, or I think he had his furry hat with the tail on that.
Oh
That
yeah, the ears and the
thing is
tail. Yeah, another iconic look.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I don't know if he had pulled it back and just. But while I was making an announcement, it just so happened that there was a member of the WB team there. I had met him the year before. He walks up to me. He's like, "Yo, the WB Games,
Yeah.
the
We
people
did like we
behind,
do like Injustice.
yeah."
Yeah.
But
Okay.
they
Okay.
also, he was like, "Hey, man, I would love to." He's like, "Would you mind giving me this opportunity to play with Sonic Fox?" I'm like, "Yeah," you know what I mean. So it's pretty cool to have the developer there wanting to sit down and play against a player there, and it was delightful. Sonic Fox executed them and finished up for everybody. He executed them, and I remember he got up with a smile on his face and he shook me. He's like, "Thank you so much for." It was
Wow.
amazing. It
That's
was
so
it
good.
was it was good times though. I saw he was there again this year. He was doing a
Yep.
demonstration there, and MAGFest had asked us to prepare a console
Yeah, that made it on the
for
program.
him.
That made it in the
Yeah,
guidebook
yeah,
app. Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah. It's,
We helped him. We prepared a console there for him to do his Mortal
so
Kombat
cool.
demonstration. Of course, he, you know, took the crowd in, and afterwards I had a little conversation with him, and man, I was so happy I was able to get my PS5 signed. He signed my PS5. Yeah. Yo,
Whoa!
yeah,
Oh
it's down there.
wow.
It's down there. It's one of the
Wow!
relics.
That's one
Huge.
of the
I
all-time
would pull it
greats.
up.
That's one of the
Oh,
all-time
heck yeah.
greats. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So I've got photos with him. I've got
that's so cool. And
one
and
of my
like
personal PS5s. Yeah.
added to like in the forever in the background of the training stage in
Oh,
Skullgirls
yes.
because
Oh,
they've been
wow.
so dominant in Skullgirls over the years that the
Oh,
devs are
yeah.
just like you're in the game now.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're on
Yeah.
the training stage.
Absolutely. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. He's an amazing
that's so good.
class. Oh, excuse me. They are amazing. They are amazing. They're a class act. I mean, let me get the get the verbiage right, but but yeah,
Well,
great, great,
what
great
we got
people.
we got it's 9:47. We got to
Yep,
wrap up. But like,
yep.
is there anything we like would know to ask you about STG about running these tournaments that you wanted to talk about?
Um, can you add a little more on that? Let's talk like
Yeah,
what
I mean, like
exactly?
what's something that's very important to you about your work with
Mhm.
STG, your work in like esports in Delaware that very important to you that I wouldn't know how to bring up, you know?
Got you. above all, esports is something that I want to see continue to evolve. We always want to be, we're right now we're we're grassroots primarily, but of course we have high endeavors. I mean, we're constantly flowing toward you know hitting the main scene, and impacting the world from a national level. But I would say um, for us, like we've seen esports at its peak, after 2020, after COVID, we've watched it, we've seen what it can be, how amazing it can be, um, with all the backing, with all the sponsorships and all that stuff, and you know,
Hmm.
when you have the right people and the right mix. And then we've also been humbled in the last couple of years, you know, by the scene being, you know, the financial portion of it, making
Yeah.
it financially make sense to struggle. We've seen that
Yeah.
dwindle. We've seen talks of teams, folding, and we've heard rumor talks about the esports bubble busting. It's kind of or bursting, excuse me. Um, and it's kind of some people know what it can be. Some people, may have written off thinking that it couldn't be, uh, that it might not be what it was back then. I personally think esports has never did, as long as there's a 1v1 competition anywhere, there'll always be competitive esports. Right now, I think we're in a esports is like growing. I mean, it's growing into, it's evolving into what it's supposed to be. It's kind of returned to its roots a little bit.
Hmm.
Um, I think, looking back on it, when we were having success, um, the players were, we had the right players, we had the right backing, and people were excited. But I think what the reason why it kind of lost a little momentum is because what was lost, the foundation around those players that we came to love, their stories were underdeveloped. We just put them on the platform. You know, hey, here's this thing called esports. It was new, but when the hype train started slowing down, reality started setting in. Reality started to set in. So um, one of the things that I'm hopeful for going forward into 2025, one of the things that uh, we want to do our part is we want to, again, we talked about stories a lot, but we want to accent those player stories. We want to, build their story from the local, from the ground up. Build that.
Hmm.
But the local scene, there's a story around every local scene. You know what I mean? Like
Hmm.
if the STG local scene is full of so many player stories there. You know what I mean? What we want to do is we want to accent player stories. We want to build uh, as we build, help them to develop their challenge. We want to build a reputation story around them, kind of create our own a story around ourselves from a grassroots level. You know what I mean? Kind of recreate what we saw on a national level, on a local level.
Yeah.
And we're
Hmm.
hoping that other grassroots organizations will do the same. Tell a story of their local players first, and then as we evolve, as we all grow and evolve to the next level, we're more aware of those stories, and who those players are. People can really relate to them as new people get to know them. I mean, they'll get to know the stories. I think storytelling is the prime jewel of traditional sports.
Hmm.
We got the Super Bowl this weekend, you know what I mean? And we was like, man, why do people love football so much? I don't think it's much. I mean, football is played everywhere. So, you can find football around this time of season everywhere. It's in your backyard. You can play it on your TV. But the biggest thing with mostly professional players is watching the stories play out on
Yeah.
game day. You know what I mean? We have Saquon Barkley, uh, playing for the Philadelphia Eagles this weekend. I'm a Giants fan, so this is very
It's very
painful.
painful.
But
The one that got away.
Yes, but he's what he's doing right now in the Eagles is special. I mean, he's
Yeah,
broke, got all these rushing yards, but it's his story that's compelling. The Giants, they were like, they thought he was washed up. They said, he said, I want to be a Giant for life, right?
yeah.
We know the story. You want to be a Giant for life. Giants kind of like took that and just kind of threw it in his face a little bit. He's like, look, I'll play for you for like 10 million. Giants are like, we don't feel like you're worth 10 million. I mean, we're gonna put your money in Jones Jones. They told him at the start of the season, early in the preseason, like, look, we're gonna let you go test free agency. If you find a team that wants to pay you that much, just make us a promise that, you can come back and you if you get an offer, give us a chance to match it. So he goes out there and he finds a $36 million deal for 3 years with a rival team. And the Giants are livid because they can't match the deal. And we watched Saquon Barkley, 90% of our offense walk. And the story of the year that everybody's kind of loved is like the Giants had our worst season ever. Worst season ever. And Saquon had his most amazing season ever. He defied the odds, what I mean,
Yeah.
after years and years. So watching that all play out, and then, to play out a divisional rivalry, a team that really was already stacked with talented players. He comes on that team and he becomes the guy in the midst of that kind of talent. You know what I mean? So I'm looking forward to this weekend and watching that story play out to see Saquon, cap off, what's been a great story
Yeah.
all year to
It,
upset the Chiefs. Chiefs are looking at 3. I know we got some Chiefs fans out there, but I would love to see Saquon, you know, reach the pinnacle. That would
yeah.
be,
Cap off that story that
yeah.
we've all noticed and turned into a narrative.
Mm.
It's the same thing with the big Luka Doncic trade in basketball, where I hear
Yes.
everyone saying like his story wasn't supposed to go like that. He's not the guy who
Right.
gets traded, and I'm like,
Right. Right.
he
Yeah.
works for ruthless billionaires who own a sports company and an entertainment
Absolutely
company.
right.
But like
Yep.
at the same time, we're like, no, this wasn't the way his story went. I'm
What's it supposed to
confused.
be?
Yeah, this
Yeah.
wasn't what it was supposed to
Yeah.
be. And I think that's what got me into when I got into
Hmm.
Smash. It was the era of the five gods, and you would see the same five
Yeah.
players in every tournament, like
Yep.
make it to the bracket. And more so
Yep.
than like following the game, I was following more, as Shirley would say, the
The-
Wimbledon scrims. I was following like, oh,
yeah.
Mango and
Yeah.
Leffen, Mango and Hungry Box, Armada
Yep.
and Hungry Box. And it was like
Yep.
I had all these players. I felt like I was watching a reality show.
Yep.
Halfway,
That's
halfway.
exactly right.
It's why people like wrestling. You know,
Yes.
like
The
people like
story. It's
wrestling's
the
fake. Like
story.
so is anime. I just love the story.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. And that's what needs to happen in esports. That is the future
Yeah.
of esports. Is those stories
You
need
have
to
some
be.
players like that. You've got
Yeah.
Sonic Fox,
Yeah.
like you said, like Faker. Some
Hmm.
players where like their narrative is why you watch.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. But there's so many other players whose stories you don't know.
Yeah.
And with esports, it's such a new thing, and now the world is paying attention. We're starting to see that, but we need to get our players' stories out there. We need to, you know, let them. They need to see them all the way back to the beginning. Imagine if we knew Faker from all the way back, and we most of us do. If you delved in, you know his story. They've done
Yeah.
a very good job of storytelling for Faker, which is why he's so prominent. Everybody loves his story. You know what I mean? One of the reasons I follow League of Legends so deeply. I love that guy. He's just amazing.
Exactly.
Um, but I think that's the key with esports, and I think with esports will be where esports goes from here. If we tell their story from the beginning, if we can get it out there to the masses, if we get people buying in to the player, um, they bought into to what esports is, but we got to get them to buy into the players. I think that's the beginning. Once we reach that stage, I think esports will be unlimited.
It's kind of like
Um,
where pro football was in the '60s.
yes,
Yeah.
I look forward to being the world's number one fan. That's my goal.
Yeah. I
The
mean,
ultimate story keeper.
but I think that's why,
Oh
like
man.
we
Yeah.
who at Folkwise have always
Hmm.
loved I've loved video games, and specifically why like I've loved like competitive video games because it's
Yeah.
all these things I talk about. I
Yep.
I record folklore for the state, but I'm looking
Yep.
at the people who like the people who have like succeeded in like a grassroots
Yes.
community who are like the local leaders
Mm-hmm.
of their community, the people who are very aware of like traditions and storytelling.
Yeah.
It's all
Yeah.
it's the Venn diagram between our worlds are very
It
similar.
is.
Yeah,
It is.
Mhm.
It absolutely is. Yeah. We're not going nowhere. In fact, in a very short time, it's gonna be all us, I predict.
yeah.
Gamers, man. Everybody's a gamer. Even if you don't, you might, some people don't even know yet, but yeah, you're a gamer. And everything you do,
That's right.
you know, life is a game, right?
All right,
Yeah.
Jevon, I think we're moving towards the
Yep.
end of our segment here. We're going to take a break and come back. But before we
Yeah.
go, where can people find you if they wanna see or hear more?
Got you. So you can follow us on Facebook at Small Town Gaming Entertainment or Facebook at Small Town Gaming DE. You can find us on Twitch at Small Town Gaming TV. You can find us on YouTube at Small Town Gaming TV. You can find us on Instagram at Small Town Gaming TV. And of course, you can follow us on Discord too. You can find us at Small Town Gaming on Discord on the Discord platforms. We'd love to have you. You know, yeah, reach out, come be a part of this special thing. Um, as a player, as a spectator, I mean, as a watcher, as a contributor, come lay a brick.
Yeah,
Come lay a brick here at STG. We'd love to have you.
Come lay a brick. How
come
about
lay
that?
a
Yeah,
brick. That's
that's
it.
it.
That's what it
That's
is.
it. Build
That's
the wall,
excellent.
man. Build the wall. Yeah.
All right,
So,
everybody watching,
Beautiful.
come lay a brick. If you're in the live chat right now, instead of lay a brick, come drop a ladder.
hey, I
Drop
like
some
that.
ladders for
Hey.
Javon.
Hey,
You know how we
appreciate
do it in
that.
this chat. Instead of applauding, we drop ladders. But ladders for
Drop
Javon,
that ladder.
bricks for Javon.
Hey, I kind of like the ladder deal too. Okay.
That's complete.
Oh
Reaching new
yeah, much
heights.
Yeah,
appreciated. Hey, I like that. I like that. That might
that's
be
our
a new
thing. That
thing.
comes
Maybe I
from
still
that
just
comes
drop the
from me
ladder.
understanding, realizing everything was climbable in Breath of the Wild, and it
Hey,
was everything is ladders.
I
Everything
like
is
it.
ladders.
Everything
Drop a ladder.
sometimes everything is ladders.
Yeah. I'm gonna take that one. I'm gonna take one to the heart. I'm gonna take that one to the heart. Appreciate that.
Well, we're taking.
I feel that.
I'm gonna take "Come Lay a Brick" to heart because that's one of the most beautiful things someone said on stream, and I feel like I've
Oh,
laid a
man.
brick
Oh
several
yeah,
places in Delaware,
you did. You
in
absolutely did.
Indiana where I first came up, uh,
Hmm.
in the Midwest in those tournaments, and even like everyone on this stream has laid a brick in our own corner of having like academic conversations about video games. You know what I mean? We've all laid
Yeah.
a brick.
Yeah, it's a beautiful thing. You guys are doing something really special here, man. Again, can't thank you guys enough for having me here. I love what you're doing. Just keep evolving, keep doing your thing. Um, folk wise, man.
We will.
You guys
For you, I will.
destined.
For you, I will. For our number one fan,
Hey,
I will.
I am your number one fan. I'm your number one
Yeah.
fan.
Undebated.
Yep,
Undeniable.
Undeniable.
undeniable.